The 69 position, the hidden power move that builds real intimacy, most men are too afraid to explore. Most men want to blow her mind in bed. They want to hear her moan, feel her body shiver, watch her melt under their touch. But here's the harsh truth. You can't truly touch her body until you touch her trust. And the 69 position, it's not just sex. It's not just pleasure. It's a test of your presence, a test of your patience, a test of whether you're man enough to give and receive at the same time. You think you're in control? Not here, not in this position. Because when you're face to face with her rawness, when your mouth is on her and hers is on you, there's nowhere to hide, no ego, no mask, just breath, touch, sensation, emotion. And if you're not ready to surrender to that, then you're not ready for the kind of intimacy that keeps a woman obsessed with you long after the lights go out. This isn't for cowards. This is for men who want more than a body. This is for men who want her soul. Let's talk about the 5 reasons this one position is a secret gateway to mind-blowing emotional and physical intimacy. The 69 position strips away everything you thought made you strong, the dominance, the rhythm, the illusion of control. It demands something more terrifying, your surrender. You're not just exposed. You're exchanging power. You're holding her in your mouth while she holds you in hers. That is not casual. That is not just another round. That is 2 people bearing themselves literally and emotionally at the same time. And for many men, that's a nightmare. Because for the first time, you're not in charge. You're trusting her to handle you with care while you're doing the same. No breaks, no dominance, no watching her perform. Just raw, breathing, mutual energy. Psychologically, that flips a switch. You are no longer the door. You are both the giver and the receiver, and that dual role activates empathy, humility, and hyper-awareness. You're not just tuned into your body, you're tuned into hers, her pulse, her reactions, her breath, her need. You feel everything she feels, and she feels everything you do. That's real intimacy. That's rare. And don't be fooled. Her body knows the difference. Her nervous system knows when you're really there and when you're in your head, trying to perform. But in this space, there's no time for ego, no time for fantasy, only real time connection, real time vulnerability, real time surrender. Neurologically, it's a chemical storm. Oxytocin floods both of you, sensing your bodies. Dopamine drops hit the pleasure centers. Even cortisol, the stress hormone, starts to fade away. And that's when her guard drops. That's when she lets go. That's when you stop chasing pleasure and start embodying it. But here's the part most men will never admit. Vulnerability turns women on, not weakness. Vulnerability, the kind where you're so comfortable in your masculinity that you can give pleasure and receive it without fear. That's confidence. That's power. That's unforgettable. This position, it's a mirror. It shows you who you are when the masks come off. And if you do it right, it will leave her emotionally tangled in you in ways she won't be able to explain. You want her obsessed. Start by making her feel safe. Start by giving without rushing. Start by being brave enough to receive. That's the kind of man she never forgets. Control feels good, especially for men. It's where you feel safe, leading, guiding, dominating the pace, the rhythm, the outcome. But control is also where intimacy dies, because real intimacy doesn't live in control. It lives in surrender. And that's exactly what the 69 position demands from you, a total surrender of control and ego. You're not just doing something to her. You're doing something with her at the exact same time with equal intensity, equal pleasure, equal exposure. And that kind of balance, it rattles most people because most of us are trained to either perform or receive, not both. But in this space, there's no hierarchy. She's not just the receiver. You're not just the giver. You are both naked, emotionally and physically, both in service of each other, both in a flow that requires trust, attunement, and presence. This position forces you to break every toxic idea you've been taught about dominance and submission. It tells you, you don't have to lead all the time. You don't have to impress her. Just feel her. Just let her feel you. Let go of the scoreboard. Let go of the roles. And here's the mind-blowing part. When you give and receive at the same time, the brain stops obsessing over outcome and locks into the now. You stop trying to win. She stops trying to perform. And instead, you fall into flow, a deep subconscious rhythm that synchronizes your heartbeats, breath, and energy. Psychologically, it resets the way you experience closeness. You're no longer chasing highs, you're living inside of one. And that kind of shared pleasure, that kind of mutual exchange, it leaves fingerprints on the soul. Here's something science has proven: shared pleasure leads to emotional fusion. It lights up the limbic system, the same part of the brain responsible for memory, bonding, and emotion. This is why couples who experience mutual, balanced pleasure report stronger emotional attachment and higher relationship satisfaction. You want to be unforgettable. Stop making it a performance. Make it a dance. You touch her, she touches you. You give, she gives. You moan, she moans. You both melt into each other. This isn't about being submissive. This is about being secure enough in your masculinity to meet her in the middle, where there is no top or bottom, no leader or follower. Just mutual fire, mutual flow, mutual pleasure. Do that, and she won't just love your body. She'll crave your presence. And that is how you build a connection no one else can compete with. Let's be brutally honest. Most men are stuck in their heads during intimacy. Am I lasting long enough? Is she enjoying this? Do I look confident? What if I mess this up? It's not sex. It's a silent performance. You're acting, she's reacting, and nobody's really there. You're not making love, you're executing a script. But here's the twist: when you're in the 69 position, you can't fake presence. You either lock into the moment or the moment swallows you. You can't drift, you can't overthink. Why? Because you're doing and feeling simultaneously. Every breath you take is matched by hers. Every reaction you feel is mirrored by her body. You're not thinking about what's next. You're riding a wave that requires you to feel every second. There's no room for ego, no space for insecurity, just raw, focused connection. And when you stop performing, when you stop pretending to be the perfect lover and instead just become fully present, everything changes. You start listening with your hands. You speak with your breath. You read her body like poetry. Each sigh, each tremble, each shift becomes a conversation. And best believe she feels it. Because women are wired to respond to presence, not pressure, not performance, presence. When you're fully there, emotionally, mentally, physically, her body lets go. Her mind softens. She stops holding back. She stops pretending. She starts surrendering. And you become unforgettable. From a scientific standpoint, this level of present moment awareness activates the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing anxiety and increasing pleasure sensitivity. It quiets the fight or flight response, turning fear into desire, tension into surrender. Most men are chasing intensity, but presence is intensity. When you're locked into her with your mouth and she's locked into you with hers, you're forced to give without rushing and receive without running. It humbles you. It slows you down. It makes the pleasure real. It makes the connection honest. This position pulls you out of your ego and into your senses. It doesn't ask you to impress. It demands you to feel. And when two people feel together in real time, with no script, no judgment, and no finish line, that's not just sex. That's spiritual combustion. You want to get out of your head in bed. Then stop chasing the climax and chase presence. Because in that moment, when your lips are on her and hers are on you, there is nothing else. No fear, no doubt, no pressure. Only fire, only truth, only now. There's a reason you can't forget her scent, why your skin still remembers her touch, why one night with the right person can echo in your body for years. It's not just chemistry, it's neurology, it's addiction, emotional, physical, primal. And here's the cold, hard truth: most men never activate this level of connection because they're too focused on the mechanics and not enough on the magic. But the 69 position, it's a chemical lightning storm. And if you know what you're doing, it can brand your presence into her nervous system like a scar she never wants to heal. Let's talk science for a second. During mutual oral stimulation, your body floods with a deadly trioxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same one released during childbirth and deep emotional bonding. Dopamine, the pleasure drug. The more she enjoys you, the more she craves you. Endorphins, the painkillers, the ones that make every second feel warm, safe, euphoric. Now imagine two bodies locked together in real time, releasing all of these at once, while both giving and receiving pleasure. That's not just sex. That's neurochemical warfare. And here's the wild part. Your brain doesn't just register what's happening, it remembers how it felt with who it happened with. That's right. You don't just make her feel good. You become the source of her good feelings. You become the place her body returns to when it wants to feel safe, wanted, wild, and worshipped. Most men think pleasure is a sprint, but this is a loop, a cycle, a memory imprinted in her cells. You kiss her slowly, intentionally. She tastes your vulnerability. You hear her breath shift. She feels your pulse quicken. And the more your bodies communicate, the more your brains sync. And suddenly, she's not just touching you, she's absorbing you. Her mind is high. Her body is no longer just reacting, it's craving. This is how obsession begins, not through tricks, not through size, but through sensory overload fused with emotional safety. Because when a woman feels safe and overstimulated at the same time, she lets go. She spirals into trust. And guess what happens when a man experiences the same thing? He stops rushing, he stops pretending, he starts connecting, and that moment becomes addictive for both of you. You want her hooked. Don't just blow her mind. Trigger her chemistry, because pleasure fades. But the memory of who made her feel that way, that sticks. Let's strip everything down for a second. Not your clothes, your patterns, your emotional defaults, your programming, because most people are not making love. They're repeating trauma. They're touching bodies while protecting hearts. They're engaging physically while staying emotionally locked down. But true intimacy, soul shaking, spine tingling, world stopping intimacy, only happens when you rewrite the script. And the 69 position, when entered with presence and vulnerability, becomes a moment that doesn't just feel good. It changes how you define connection itself. Why? Because it forces you into a new relational rhythm, one where pleasure isn't hierarchical, one where both partners are exposed, both are giving, both are risking closeness, without masks, without walls. Most people live in patterns of imbalance. One gives more, one takes more, one leads, one chases, one feels everything, the other shuts down. But in this space, that pattern is broken. You're not taking turns. You're not counting who gave what. You're not waiting to feel safe. You're creating it together right there. It's a co-created intimacy blueprint that says, I trust you with my most vulnerable self. I'm not afraid to feel. I'm not afraid to receive. And I'm not afraid to let you in. Neurologically, that shifts everything. Your brain starts forming new neural pathways, associating closeness with pleasure instead of pressure. You stop viewing vulnerability as weakness and start feeling it as power. You stop chasing climax and start craving connection. And when two people reach that state, they don't just remember the moment, they anchor to it. It becomes a touchstone, a reset, a turning point, a sacred memory that says, that night we didn't just have sex, we became something else. You see, most couples plateau because they never rewire. They stay in the same emotional groove, running the same tired routine. But this unlocks a new level. It builds emotional fluency. It strengthens nonverbal trust. It creates erotic safety. And from that moment on, your bodies speak a language that nobody else understands. That's why after something this intimate, this mutual, this balanced, you can't just go back to shallow sex. You can't just go back to empty touch. Because now your blueprint has changed. You've tasted something real, and so has she. So don't underestimate this position. It's not just about pleasure. It's about